On in tonight to our live. I am Delphine, this is Amena Art, and once again we're talking about prints, which we're kind of left off. We're taking back off where we left off last live, which was not last night, but the night before that. So we're starting back off. We ended the last live talking about these prints I have down here, which if we get through these ones I have off to the side here through quickly, we'll bring them back out and go back through them for anyone that's just seeing this now. But we're going to go through the second half of these and just more casual talks and stuff as always. But welcome on in, come and join us as we kind of talk about art. So to start off the night, we're actually starting off with In Bloom here, which In Bloom is actually a butterfly piece. This was created in 2024, around the same time as the tiger. And this one was created for a painting class. So originally, the original painting was meant to be used as like a reference piece for a painting class that we do now obviously offer to painters. But that's where it was originally painted, as one of those like masterpieces. And very gorgeous. It is this pretty pink butterfly with these green wings here, and it actually has some flowers around it. I cannot remember off the top of my head exactly what type of flower this is, but I know in the actual story where we talk about behind the scenes and stuff on this one, we do actually talk about what flower it is. I just can't remember at the moment. Specifically though, this one really represents kind of like spring, new things opening up, like a butterfly. You're now blooming, so it is called In Bloom, and it's kind of spring, honestly. So I don't know if you guys can see it too well from there, so I'm going to bring it a little bit closer. Hopefully not scrape the chair against the floor. Alright, there we go. Now you can see it a little bit better now that I've brought it closer. But it's still very gorgeous, and honestly it's a pretty simple piece with we're only being really pink and green, which is just two colors here. Of course there's like a lighter pink, darker pink and all that, but there's only two major color differences, which that's pink and green. Very simple though, very cute, honestly. And yeah, it's not really complex. It might be a little bit girly with the colors, but honestly, it really was made to be kind of a simplistic piece that really kind of represented spring and all those things blooming around and new life and such. And of course, we just made it super simple so then we could later use it as a reference piece for some painting classes, which also those went well. And the actual classes themselves, we offer them somewhere, but they were super fun to paint, and all the butterflies. Of course, they're not exact to the painting because, of course, it's a class. It's not a complete how to do this, but it does obviously give the very basics of painting, laying out, and all that fun stuff. But yeah, it's definitely a good one to start off with. Do enjoy this one. And what you're currently seeing is actually our collector print of it, which is, I believe, the 13 by 13. This one actually is the signed version. But super cute and everything. One of the newer pieces, which I think, yeah, the one that we're going over next is actually newer than this. This was last year type new, which I still consider these new, honestly. And then we got new, which is, this is like the newest. This is like first edition, which I'm going to show you here in a moment. But super cute, super lovely. let me show you kind of the next one, because I don't really have much else to say about this one. So I'm going to move this. Guys, we'll put with the other ones that I had from the last live. Then we got the really new one, actually. This one is actually first edition, because it's just that new. This one was, the print probably was made about, I would like to say last month or so, like early this month, late last month. But the painting itself was painted about, obviously, mid last month. So it is actually one of the newest paintings still to date. We do have obviously some newer ones, but the first editions on those have not been released just yet. But this one is called Temptation. And Temptation here is of this tiger kind of like stepping into the water and looking down into it. And it's got these, I believe they're peonies here, and these are like very spring flowers, because this is actually a spring related piece. So the reason why it's kind of spring related is because that's kind of when I'm trying to think of wording for this. It's kind of when all the animals kind of get together to meet each other, you know, because it's spring. And that's where Temptation, the name, actually comes from. And the reason why it's kind of near a water and stuff is mainly because if you ever see like those wildlife shows, they always have like these scenes in like the safari and stuff where like all the animals are held around like the like little pond and stuff in like the middle of spring. And that's really where she saw this like being, like she had a scene in her head while she was painting this, and that was like the scene she saw. And that's why it's kind of like persistent here, like it is with those specific flowers. Very gorgeous though. And actually the hardest part about this piece would definitely be the stripes. Honestly, the stripes would have been the hardest part, because she wanted to make it look really buff and masculine, but obviously she had to make sure that the lighting and stripes were correct. So she had a lot of time she was working on making sure that was perfect. Overall though, this is actually our second tiger we have. So we do have two tigers, which is currently one of the rare ones I think we have two of the same animal or creature of. I don't think we have any ones that are like duplicates other than this one I can remember. Of course, correct me if I'm wrong. But this is the only one I think that we've really have a duplicate of, and this is tiger. So we got Peaceful Jungle, which is a tiger, and that's obviously more still spring themed, but that's more like relaxing peacefulness. This is more same spring, but this is more like obviously temptation and stuff. Very tempting, very kind of passionate and strong. So different feelings, but same animal. Very gorgeous though still. And it obviously is one of the newer pieces being made this year and stuff. But I do love this one. And it is obviously same size as the last, which is a 13 by 13. And this one's actually a first edition, since it's the first prints of these. Very gorgeous though. Now, I don't know if you guys said anything in the comments or not, but I did see some hearts pop up. So hi, welcome in. I did see that, even if I didn't say it immediately. Hi, thank you for supporting. Let me come over so I can read, because I don't have the computer with me tonight. So I gotta come over here to see what you guys are doing. Do you paint them yourself? No, I do not paint them. Our artist Amena K, she paints them all. She's our artist here at Amena Art. So she does everything that I show you tonight, every other night and everything. Amena Art is literally her brand. It's where she does all her art and creation, and this is where we really show it and support all of that. So no, I do not do the art actually. She does the paintings, and then she tells me cool things about like her story on it, how it kind of means, and I relay that back to you all because she's busy painting, obviously, because that's her job. But yep, very neat, very nice. And of course, as we go through the live stream, I do show you very new stuff like this year, last year, and then sometimes I even show you stuff a little bit older than that to like really older than that. So you can really see how she has some very distinct different styles as well. But this one is really one of the newer pieces, being obviously Temptation. It's not the newest piece. The newest piece she actually finished is not up yet. There's actually a few. So the newest big piece, because this is actually one of the big like masterpieces, like we have one back here like hidden. This was the Swan. Was called Release, I believe. It was Release and another one. It was another cloud one she has. So she has two cloud ones now. But Release was the biggest one of the two that she made. It's an Ariel's one, an Ariel art one. We don't have a first edition print of that one just yet. But the newest ones that have not even been announced just fully yet is she finished the Mini Wings collection. So she has a Mini Wings collection now that she's got up. So we're going to be putting that up. Obviously, the first editions for all those probably here in a few weeks and stuff. But very interesting stuff and everything. Let me obviously click this so I can see it scroll down. All right. Let's move on. I don't know if this can fit these bigger ones because I've only been showing you guys 13 by 13s, which is our just normal square size, but we do have some bigger ones, which I'm going to see if I can fit it if it's a little bit smaller. Which way is this? Let's see if it'll support it. I don't know. Kind of struggling, guys. Let me see. Maybe without the base, I'll be able. Try and get this. See if I can get up. Oh. Okay. All right. There we go. Don't touch it. I got it up. I took away the base though. So it's just standing on its own, which hopefully it does not fall. Okay. So this is actually one of our bigger ones, which I do struggle to get them to stand on their own. So, wow. This is the 16 by 20, and this one's actually one of her reefs. She does do a lot of reefs in her works, but this is one of the few ones that she actually is just a reef. One of the ones that is kind of like reef related. Actually, there's two that's kind of reef related, one a little bit more than the other. The first one is called Merry Beginnings. It's the pink swan with a reef around its head. Doesn't have any flowers or anything, but it is an actual reef. And then another one that's a little bit more reef related, but you wouldn't be able to immediately tell that it's kind of reef related. It's actually fiery, which it has like this ring around its head of fire, which that's kind of like a reef as well. Circle, head. Oh, and we have one other reef. It's a deer with something. I can't remember. It's like deer reef or something. She does a lot of reefs as well. Now, the reason why she does a lot of reefs is because, one, her favorite holiday is actually Christmas. So she literally has so many Christmas paintings at this point. So many. 2, she really loves flowers. So Christmas plus flowers equals wreaths, obviously. And 3, wreaths are just the fun thing she likes to paint. Like, she loves doing the little circles, and then obviously flowers she loves. So it's just obviously putting all those together. It just so happened to come out like, oh, she really loves doing this. So she does have like a mini collection of wreaths, which this one's actually the biggest one that she has, which is an actual painting. Yes, this one specifically is called Wreath with Flowers, and I don't remember exactly what type of flower this is, but it is a very pink and kind of yellowish flower. I'm pretty sure if she was here, she'd be like, I know exactly what flower that is. I don't know though. I don't do that much studying on flowers. But very gorgeous still. It's just this gorgeous little wreath circle. And honestly, it could probably, I don't know where exactly you would put this other than obviously for Christmas and stuff. It could probably go up during most of the holiday season though too, since it is just a normal flower wreath and not just like ornaments or anything. It's very colorful too. Very pretty though. And I don't show this much actually. I don't show this one much because 1, it's obviously one of the bigger ones, but 2, there's not much really to say other than she really likes wreaths. So you might see a lot of like circles around the heads, wreaths are related, or just general just wreaths. But she does like them. She does have a few in her collection, and this one's one of them, obviously. But very gorgeous. I'll back it up a little bit too so you can see the full piece because I know it's a little bit close. But it's just got all that. This one's actually one of the few ones that has more of a hidden signature, which the signature is this little blue thing down here. It's actually one of the ones that take me a little bit longer to find too. But let me put it off to the side as we kind of got like a pile stacking up over here by the couch. Got a pile over here. I got one more over here, and then I got the other ones over there. Another tall one, so we'll hopefully this one will stand as well on its own. Is the back support? Yes. Okay, so it stands on its own. Wow, guys, I'm out of water, right? This one is actually not called like cow or anything. This one is called the Amazing Grace. So the Amazing Grace here is actually based on the actual song. So the Amazing Grace and all that other stuff. It's a very American song if you've never actually heard of it. But this is a very kind of like subtle American painting with it really being like kind of subtle. It's got the blue, obviously you can see. It's got a little bit of like this reddish pink and then the yellows too. And obviously it's kind of like more country farm, which most of America is actually like farmland, country land. Country farm, which most of America is actually like farmland, country land. Even obviously you hear a lot of like the cities and things, we do have a lot of farmland and country land. And then of course cows. Cows are literally everywhere in America. So we've got cow, farmland, kind of like American colors, and the name's the Amazing Grace. So it's just really a representative to America as a whole, which that is obviously where the artist Amena is born. That's where we're located and everything else. So it's kind of just a reference to our homeland. And it's not like really fully out there, but it's just out there enough that you'd be able to honestly tell if you got like the hints. But honestly, super cute. It's a very simplistic style for her, the actual cow. It doesn't have much detailing, which honestly that can throw a lot of people off when you see it next to our other works where it has more shading, coloring, and everything. these are very flat colors, and it's not really highly detailed or shaded, which that was a stylistic choice for this piece. She really wanted it to kind of be wild and not fully like put together. So she really kept it more on that blank, like just straight colors tones without fully looking like it was like professionally put together. It's kind of wild, honestly, like the wild strawberry fields and stuff. Very gorgeous though, honestly. And I do enjoy it. But another reason, obviously, this is just a fun fact at this point, not even a reason, just a fun fact, where we're located actually is basically the place for American history. So if you ever come to Virginia, especially Fredericksburg, Virginia, that is all of basically America's history here. All of our presidents, a lot of our wars, it's basically here. We got a lot of battlefields, we got a lot of houses, a lot of history, and we have an entire town dedicated to it. But very historical, and the piece kind of represents that. So very fun fact on that. And I'll move it back here so you guys can actually see it a bit better from far away. But it's just this cute little cow, honestly, kind of just wandering through this flat Howard strawberry field. But you can kind of see that it's got some of those more American colors hidden in, even though it's not like a straight dead giveaway at first. It's a very sweet cow, honestly. But it can be pretty much anywhere. Same with a lot of pieces. It just depends on who basically likes it. This one is actually signed here, upper leaf. It says Amena. I just love pointing those out because sometimes she hides them. It makes you guys actually look for people's signatures, which they do usually put them on the paintings. Let me put this off to the side. Now the other ones I actually have over here, which I'm pulling out one of the newer ones actually. Wow, bigger. We're just doing bigger tonight at this point. Stand. So that seems like the standing method's being nice to me tonight. Let's see. I need to make sure that it stays supported. Wow. Okay, no hands. This actually is one of our newer pieces. This one was created this year, probably around the same time as Temptation, honestly, which this was probably about a month ago now or so. This is currently, to date, the only one that is a fruit. So this is the only big piece that we have as a fruit, and it's just a giant red strawberry. So about a month ago, maybe a month and a half ago now, she painted this giant red strawberry, and it basically became the centerpiece of the entire gallery because it was the only thing that was not an animal or just flower related. It was giant red strawberry. So this giant red strawberry is actually called Yummy. So Yummy here is obviously a red strawberry. It's got like its leafage at the top, and it has some palm trees in the background with a nice yellow backing that kind of gives it like a bright sunny effect. This one actually is the debut for obviously 2025 summer collection, and this is obviously the first edition of it for the first edition prints. The strawberry itself, this one does actually have a little bit more of a story that's meaningful for the artist Amena herself. She actually, a lot when they were a little bit younger, her kids, they went actually strawberry picking a lot. Like you would go pick strawberries, apples, all those fun things, especially if you live anywhere more countryside. You do have kind of those farms where you can go out and pick things, which strawberry picking was actually a common activity that they would go and do sometime during those early summerish, late spring months when strawberries are starting to come out and it's like really pushed. So now obviously her kids are older, she kind of wanted like a memory of like those summer times where they would all get together, they would go and pick all these fruit and stuff, they would make like jams and it would just be for breakfast and everything else. So she brought out this giant red strawberry that honestly is a pretty bold statement piece. So this one's not too subtle about stealing the room, but it's definitely out there. It's definitely kind of giving me at least Miami vibes because it's very bright and colorful, but it's not like straight modern, like, you know, squares and stuff, but it's bright and colorful and it's definitely bold. I will say that. I do love it a lot though. It's actually one of my favorite pieces currently to date, just because it is so different from what she usually had painted before. But super sweet. It's got the palm trees in the background, which really pushes like that summery feeling. And then of course, giant, bright, and it's got kind of like a glow around it, which really gives it like that bright, sunny day when you're like picking strawberries and stuff. But let me move it back so you guys can obviously see it a little bit better fully. It's got this cute little texture, honestly. When I bring it closer, you can kind of see it does have a nice little texture that's kind of like, I don't know how to describe it. It's kind of like paper, honestly, or like it's kind of a little bit older, but you can kind of see it a little bit. Especially up here, you can kind of see it where it's kind of like older texture over here. They're like splotches, if you can see underneath. This one actually signed on this little tiny bottom leaf at the bottom. Super cute though, and honestly, it's pretty, like, it's pretty much a statement piece, honestly. I don't think there's any way you can really not make this a statement piece unless your entire house is a statement house. Because if you're just putting this into a normal house, I'm pretty sure it would stand out very, very well. But let me put this off to the side. Grab the other one that's over here, because apparently I started moving them over here. Oh. And this one, there's actually two of these. I don't know what the second one is, if we ever made the second one. This one is a little bit different from the usual. And this, if I can get to stand. Come on. All right, there we go, I think. You good? All right, we're good. This is Rise. So for this one, there's actually two pieces. This is one of the pieces that does have a duo. So this is a duo piece, which there's only a few pieces that are duos, because there's two different things. We have collections, which is basically like animals, mystical, flowers. This is just a collection of generic themes. And then we have duos and trios and quadruples and all that, which they were all painted together to be together. So basically they were all put into the same collection because they were meant to obviously be side by side, or obviously you can just have one if you want. This one was actually one of the duo pieces. This is called Rise. Its duo piece is actually Protection. And they were painted around 2024 and around December, I believe. This was actually a more Christmassy painting, with her really thinking of like angels. So Rise over here is kind of these angel wings. It's these blue angel wings kind of rising up, all pretty like, open its wings, kind of like fly high and stuff. And it's kind of like you're rising up to like greater things, honestly. It's opening your wings, going up, soaring through, rising. So that's really what this one is. And then of course you've got protection, which protection kind of droops down and covers, protects. So they kind of go hand in hand, where one of them rises up and it kind of like expands its wings. It's not really like fighting or anything. It might be if that's how you see it, but it's kind of like just opening up and it's ready to go to greater lengths. And then you've got protection, which is kind of huddled more in, and it's like protecting and keeping safe, honestly. It's not really going far. But they're a very gorgeous duo piece, and this is obviously Rise here, which is one of two. This one specifically is I think this is a 16 by 20. This is actually a collector's edition print we have showing here. Very gorgeous, very simplistic, and this is obviously one of the pieces she has as wings. She does have a mini collection of 4 that we're releasing here soon. That is wings as well, so she does have more wings actually coming, but these are a mini collection. These are actually more of our master collection, which is our bigger works, whilst a mini collections is just smaller works that obviously then we have as actual prints and such. But master collection is Rise of Protection, and then we've got a mini collection of wings also coming here soon. Very gorgeous though. Of course, if you have any questions, guys, you're more than free to ask at any time and all that fun stuff. But let me move this so you can see it a little bit farther away. And we might end the live stream a little bit early. Well, it's going out a little bit early. It'll be 9 o'clock, but I did start a little bit late because we're a little bit slow. But very gorgeous, honestly. And this one is signed on the bottom corner of the wing here. So this one is Rise. And honestly, it is just rising up here. Very gorgeous. So let me put this off to the side and show another one. I've been showing all of the vertical pieces recently, but we do have a horizontal one actually over here, which I'll bring over to show. But this one's actually a part of our Mystic collection. So this was one of the first pieces of the Mystic collection when it was released in 2024. So this was one of the first that got obviously released when the collection was announced, that we were obviously painting mystical animals. I believe this one was the first or second of the batch of 3, and this is Anastasia. So Anastasia here is actually a unicorn, if you can't tell by looking at it. It does actually have a horn, and honestly it's kind of got this theme of more of mysterious. It's kind of more hidden and kind of a little bit more whimsical. So whimsical, mysterious, a little bit more hidden in with its like grass and stuff, which she was really going for that feeling with this. Because how she sees unicorns is they're kind of something that you don't really notice at first, but they're very like mystic and very pretty. They're a little bit hidden and they're kind of a little bit whimsical. So you got the hair kind of going all crazy here at the top, all very pretty like though. And it's hidden a little bit at the body here behind this tall grass, as well as the horn itself is kind of blending into the actual mane of the horse. It does obviously have some roses, which if you've never been here or heard this before, roses is actually a common flower in her paintings, one of the most common ones you're going to see. And it actually is her favorite. So Amena K's favorite flower is a rose. And it actually is her favorite. So Amena K's favorite flower is a rose. All right, sorry about that. But yeah, so the roses are really to represent her kind of new love. So this is kind of like newer love for things, as unicorns was more of a child love. She really loved unicorns when she was younger, and it was like her favorite thing. She really loved The Last Unicorn, some other unicorn movies, some other references we made in the actual like backstory of this, where we actually interviewed the artist herself. But she really loved unicorns when she was younger. So this is kind of like a piece also that shows kind of like her younger love for unicorns or her new love for roses, kind of like intertwining this gorgeous scene here with this unicorn honestly just being itself. But very gorgeous. This is actually our 20 by 16 or 16 by 20. It's just the horizontal one. And just to show you guys a little bit further away how gorgeous this is. Of course, the roses, if you can't tell, these are actually a little bit more faded out. They aren't as detailed as some of the roses in her other pieces. That's on purpose, that she did not want to take over the actual piece, even though she does have a few more defined ones up here. She did not want these bottom roses to really become the centerpiece, since mainly it was up here in this section as the center. But very gorgeous. This is Anastasia, and the signature is somewhere around, let's see. I know she signed this one, but no. Oh, this one might have been cropped out. Ah, that's a shame. So this one actually, as I just remembered, is actually a square. So the original painting itself is actually a square. So sadly, since this one's a square, the signature did just come right below the crop out, so it did not actually show, sadly, in the actual collector's print, but is obviously still signed on the back by the artist to obviously show that's hers. Very gorgeous still though, but that is Anastasia. Look at that unicorn. So let me put this off to the side safely, and I'll show you the last one probably for tonight, which is another one, a part of the mystical collection, and obviously another horse related one, because why not? This is seahorse, not like the traditional sense of a seahorse. It's a literal sense of a seahorse. So literally, it's a horse in the sea. So it's got its hoofs half here in the upper half, and it's kind of got like this mermaid tail going on in the bottom half. And this is actually the last piece of the mystical collection that was released originally in 2024. So this was a collection of 3, and this one was the last one added to the release of it. It's kind of got like this beautiful eerie feeling, honestly, to it, where it's kind of got like that old like siren mermaid kind of look, which is underwater and really flowy, which you can kind of see with the like brushwork here happening. And it's got this gorgeous face and like these whiskers as well that you might not tell just from a distance. Very gorgeous though. This one really is like a representative, obviously, to more oceanside, urban legends, and such, With the artist herself, she actually does go to the beach all the time. She has for many years. Her family has owned beach houses multiple years and has gone for many years every year. But she loves the beach. She loves horses as well. She had some horses on her estate for a while and kind of mixed together, honestly, to make this gorgeous piece that's kind of like an urban legend at this point. But this is specifically called Seahorse. The actual mystical creature that this is actually is called like a hippocampus or something. It's basically a half horse, half fish. Very gorgeous though. And also it does kind of give that slightly eerie feeling to it. Just slightly. But I'll give you guys a better close-up look on this. It's really taking kind of like that more water detailing that you might not see at first. And this one, if I can see it, yep, this one's one actually her hidden signatures on this one, which is here in this far, far corner. It's very hard to see though, because it's like a very dark signature, but it's right there. So she signed this one a little bit more hidden, because she didn't really want to be really seen. But Seahorse, this one's actually the 16 by 20. I believe this is the first or second edition on this one. But it is obviously still collector because this one is actually signed on the back by the artist Amena herself. Very gorgeous though, honestly. And it obviously gives that very kind of like, honestly, I really love this one just because it gives that like old sirens / mermaid like tail type feeling. Very gorgeous. This is probably like my first or second favorite piece. So it's one of my favorites, honestly. Just because one horses to the feeling. It just gives that gorgeous feeling. But let's wrap it up with this little bit smaller one of tonight. Bring back the smaller thing that I had to take away because it wasn't holding up the bigger pieces. Obviously boost it. So we kind of got this one. Much smaller. It's actually the same piece that we have hidden back here that you can't really see unless you noticed it while I'm changing it out. This is called Merry Beginnings. And Merry Beginnings is obviously a bigger piece when it's actually the painting because that's what's hidden back here in the corner. Merry Beginnings though is this gorgeous swan that's kind of like wings out. This is actually one of the reef paintings I was talking about earlier where it has an actual reef around its head. This one does not have any sort of flowers or anything in it. It's literally just a swan and this gorgeous just green reef. And it does have obviously a little bit of meaning, but not like a huge crazy story. Firstly, the first meaning behind it obviously is merry. So merry comes from Christmas and all that, which wreaths are a huge thing in Christmas. You put your wreaths on doors, you put them basically on windows, you can put them on anything and everything. And a lot of people do put wreaths on doors. Some people even make wreaths on Christmas. So wreaths is more of a holiday type thing, and it's merry, which that's also something that the artist really loves. It's one of her favorite things. That's kind of more of this painting as well. And then beginnings is actually the swan. So here in Virginia, we don't get many swans, but we do obviously get them sometime in the spring, summer, occasionally. But mainly, it's not because of the swan itself, but what it kind of more represents. The swan actually represents the new beginnings of basically the art and home of the artist as she moved into this much bigger studio and started these big pieces and paintings The home itself was actually kind of stylized and reminiscent of a mansion that's called the, give me a moment, it's the Virginia Maymont. It's called the Maymont. It's here in Virginia, and it's this gorgeous mansion. It's got a gorgeous garden. If you ever go inside of it, you're going to see that the actual lady of the house has this gorgeous swan bed. She really loves swans, and it's got the swan bed that comes down and droops down just like the painting. Because of this new studio in place that really sparked the artist's creativity in painting, is really heavily referenced off of this mansion. She really wanted to make more of a reference towards that in this piece, really kind of referencing towards the inspiration and the new beginnings of her life by really showcasing it in this swan here. So it's got two things she likes. It shows kind of like her home. She's got her favorite holiday where she really goes all out in decorating, and then of course the swan, which is a representative of the style of the obvious studio and home of her new beginnings. So, my beginnings. Kind of a long story, even though I said it wasn't. I don't consider it too long though. But that is all of our pieces tonight. We went through probably about 6 or so, honestly. Probably about 6 or so. So a decent amount. About 6 or so. So a decent amount, honestly, 6 or 7, which is our normal amount for a normal live stream. If you've just joined in, hello, hi, Dauphine. This is Amena Art. And obviously we're wrapping it up now. So obviously finish up with whatever you're doing. We got the product links tonight. You can ask questions, whatever else. But much later, I did start a little bit later on this live, but we're finishing it up now. Very good though, very good stuff. Shared some stories. Of course, if you ever want to hear about any of the other pieces that we are releasing, or some of the older pieces in our collections, then follow the page. Whenever we're live, I go through about 6 to 8, 8's like the max, but usually 6 to 7 pieces a live stream, and I'll go through them and I talk about them and give you a little bit more backstory, some fun facts, and obviously answer questions as I'm live. But thank you obviously for joining and listening and everything else. Going to close out tonight, get some more water, all that fun stuff, and I hope you have a lovely Friday night. It's apparently a Friday night, but tons of fun tonight. We have tons more paintings to go over next live stream, which I hope to see you guys there. If not, well, I hope you have a fun time scrolling or whatever you love to do. I am Dauphine, this is Amena Art, and thank you once again. Good night.